Hi, hi. Jeff.
Okay. Hi, guys.
Hey, hey.
All
Hello.
right. I see Ty and Hector are back. Jeff, you weren't on here the other day, were you?
I was, and then I wasn't. I
What
got
does that
on,
mean?
and you were in the middle of something, and I left, and I came back, and it was over.
All right. All right. Doesn't matter. You're here now. I just wanted to take a few minutes to let our audience meet you folks. You've come a long way since we first met, and you've made a lot of things happen, some of them having nothing to do with real estate, which is frankly not unusual at all. Seems when you get out there and you start making some money, now you're freed up to do the things you want to do in life that you couldn't do while you were struggling to survive. Am I correct for you guys? Huh?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Uh, uh, so, uh, Jeff, let's start with you.
Sure.
Where do you live and what's going on in your life?
I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I've had a business since basically after I met you in 2000, and
That's when you met me?
that's when
Wow.
I met you. And then I've been to every class and many of them multiple times. Bob Leonetti like 3 times. So,
Really?
oh yeah. And here's my calculator I use every day.
You still using? Oh, look at that! You guys need to get updated, man. Look, it's on the phone nowadays. Even an HP 12C is on the phone. You want to use that?
I like
There's
the
no need.
10B.
No, I think maybe there you go. That's an HP 12C right there. You still got one, huh? Yeah.
Yep.
But do you use it or
Every
not?
single day.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, okay. I don't care what calculator you use. I've got one too, but it's got to have dead batteries because it hasn't been fired up in years. So, what's going on in your life now?
Yep. I've had 2 careers, pre-crash, post-crash, and post-crash I am more a wholesaler, and now I wholesale nationwide. I have a team of 6, and we do commercial, land, residential, and we our favorite thing is to use creative financing in our business in some way or another, and that's the new thing for us is that we have properties under contract all over the country right now.
You do?
Yes,
Properties that you're going to wholesale?
most likely. Some
Okay.
we look at keeping. It just depends.
How many properties would you wholesale in a normal month?
Well, normal month is not really I probably can't give you a consistent answer, but I can tell you right now we have 9 properties under contract. We have probably 5 pending contracts, and we have I wouldn't doubt if we get another 6 to 8 contracts before the end of the month. So that's where we're going, but it's taken some time to get there.
Yeah. So you work in, what's your average profit on these wholesale deals, Jeff?
So residential, commercial, or just a blend of the 2?
Well, let's try residential.
Residential, just about 20,000.
20,000 average?
Yep.
Wow, that's a pretty good lick on wholesale deals.
Yep.
Okay, and you're doing these in multiple states.
Correct.
Okay, and how about commercial? What kind of commercial?
We've done
Flips
a
do you do?
number of storage unit facilities. We've got house portfolios, apartments, mobile home parks, RV parks. Just sold an RV park. We sold probably 6, 7 storage unit facilities last year. Best assignment fee was like $350,000. We had another one of just over $250,000. They're not all like that. I would say median assignment fee is more like 60,000 ish, depending on the price range of the properties.
Yeah. So you have a team of 6. What does this team do?
Yeah, so I have two acquisition managers. I have a VA in the Philippines that is our lead manager, handles all the phone calls. And my significant other is my disposition manager. And then I have a transaction coordinator / marketing manager. And then we
Okay.
even have an intern too right now.
What do you do to find all of these deals in these multiple states? What's your best marketing method?
Facebook,
Paid Facebook ads,
yes.
paid Facebook and Google.
So we're not really doing Google right now. We will be, because right now what we do is we market. I want to say nationwide, but it's a little less than nationwide. We've identified some areas that we prefer not to deal in, and so we just take all the leads that we generate. So they're cheap. They probably run $15 to $25 a lead, and
Really?
yes,
That
and
is cheap.
that's super cheap, right? And we do two different Facebook campaigns. So we have one, they're both done for you. Facebook's not my thing. That's not what I want to be doing. I pay for it. Two different companies that do it. We probably average 16, 15, 16, 17 leads per day. And in all areas over the country, and some in bigger cities, some in smaller cities, some in very rural areas that we typically let go. If the population's 350, we're out. But the
You mean
population
three,
5,000, 6,000,
350, not 350,000,
no,
350.
350 people.
Yeah, that's not a population.
That's right.
That's a household.
That's right.
Mexican family.
That's right.
All right.
That's primarily our lead source right now.
So what's your daily spend on Facebook?
On one of the campaigns, we just upped it this month to $100 a day, and
Wow.
the other one we pay $3,000 a month. So it's basically $100 a day.
Wow. Okay. And right now you're doing maybe 15 a month, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're just about there. I mean, this month will be a very good month, and
Okay.
it'll move into next month.
So when you attract commercial, what are you looking for in the way of commercial properties that have a problem?
Well, absolutely, we love value add type properties, but using creative financing, we can deal with turnkey type commercial properties as long as they're open to terms.
You know what? That's exactly what my commercial partner with student business looks like. They didn't want to do owner financing. They can take a hike. I'm not going to go raise the cash to buy the property, especially at retail price.
Yeah.
Not on my planet. So even when I buy land to convert it to higher and better use, if the seller won't finance it, we're just going to pass.
Yeah.
So we find no problem getting seller financing on land. Of course, some of them won't. But then many, in fact, we got one under contract right now. We've been trying to close for several months with $50,000 down on a $650 purchase price.
Yep.
Which, yours truly has to put up the 50, but besides that, that's pretty much what I buy. I have paid cash for some, but I mean, they were really cheap prices, or I wouldn't pay cash for them. All right. So then you just put them under contract.
Yes.
And then you go out and flip them nationwide.
Yes.
And and frankly, with the heat of the market the way it is right now, I could see why you could put them under contract at retail price and somebody's going to pay more.
Well, it's really funny
especially if there's terms.
Well, one of the storage unit deals that we did last year, we'll do on market and off market. It does not matter. And we found this storage unit on LoopNet, and it's advertised for everyone to see. I'm not sure why the seller or the broker decided to put this, but they said, it was like a 6.1% cap rate. But if you looked into it, it was 285 units, totally vacant, for $285,000.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah,
I don't need to know anymore.
right. So I don't know
Yeah.
why everyone passed it up. And we paid 285,000 for it, and
Yeah, what a guy. Didn't even negotiate a lower price, did you?
that's
Man.
right. So
Well, that is an abnormal find right there. And I
I
imagine the
totally agree.
6.1, I
Yep,
imagine the 6.1 is what he calculated to be after it was stabilized and occupied. You don't have a cap rate if you don't have any income. I
that's
mean,
correct. Yes,
yeah. So hey, I'd have bought that one. So what'd you sell that one for?
for like 550,000 in like
Okay.
sight unseen in like 7 days.
Probably could have got a lot more than that for it, don't
I
you think?
agree. We were under a time crunch, and
Well,
we had to move quick, and it just kept getting bid up and bid up.
yeah, I imagine it did.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, let me move over to these guys a little bit here, Jeff. Before I leave them, though, you've been at this 21 years now.
Yes.
And when you started, were you just doing houses?
Yeah, when I started with you, and you started me, I bought an infomercial, Carlton Sheets, and somehow I got on your list, Ron.
Oh,
And
Carlton was my favorite lead generator.
yeah,
I
the next thing I knew,
loved him.
I,
Yeah, yeah.
I
He
started getting the
did.
stuff from you, and I bought
Yeah.
your famous 3-course deal. Then I was at a seminar, and then I came to Indianapolis for the wholesale and retail, the
Uh-huh.
rehab. I mean, I've seen all Robin Thompson, Jeff Collar, Richard Roop.
All my children.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. I've been there. You started it all for me, so I
Well,
absolutely
Jeff,
100% appreciate it.
you're a good example, and so are the other two guys beside you here. Uh, what you need to do to succeed. I mean, some people actually under the impression they're going to get educated for free. There's no such thing. Pay one way or the other. And then some people think, oh, I can go to a seminar and I'm done learning. We're never done learning, are we? Huh?
I,
We've
I've,
been learning.
I tell my students now that, I've spent probably $500,000, maybe even more, on my
Uh-huh.
education over the years, and I continue to do so today.
Me too. Me
Yep.
too. Just came back from an event, took 2 or 3 staff with me. I mean, we go to 2 or 3 of those a year till to
Yep.
this very day. Yeah,
Yep.
and I'm in mastermind groups that cost $25,000.
Yep. It
So
adds
yeah,
up.
I get it. So in other words, you're telling me that the more you learn, the more you earn.
Well, to me, it's like real estate is always about adapting, right? The market's changing, technology's changing. You have to adapt, and that doesn't mean changing your business 100%, but it does mean making some tweaks and strategy. Different strategies will work better. I can't run ads anymore in the newspaper, Ron, to attract deals like I used to.
No, I used to have one in there every single day. I remember it cost me $850 a month to put that little ad in the classified, and it
Yep.
never came out. Yeah. But actually, listeners, you still should do that today because remember, all the newspapers are online. So if you put an ad in the paper, it goes on their website. All right. Uh, so let me go to Ty. Ty,
Yes, sir. Good to see
I
you.
like that. I like that poster you have on the wall behind you there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I recognize it.
Yeah.
So tell me again, what year did we meet?
This is great, man. I'm so great to be with you, Ron. I was just telling friends great stories and meeting you. I met you in like 98 or 99, and I had been investing already, but not kind of like Carlton Sheets style, 20% down, traditional financing, personal
Mhm.
guarantees. And I was buying some rentals and things. And then a friend of mine, Jim Sullivan, from South Florida, was like, oh, there's this guy, Ron LeGrand.
I
And
remember Jim. Yeah,
Jim's a great guy. Jim's a great
yeah.
guy and a good friend. And anyway, so I remember buying this was my first investment with you, was the wholesale retail cash
Oh,
flow system, SDI.
Where's the
yeah,
cassette?
Yeah, the
yeah.
cassette.
Where's the 8-track?
What's funny is I just rebought these. I rebought them. Somehow I lost my original set, but I rebought them because they're so good. They're so
We're-
good. Everything you've put out has been so good. It's been a blessing to be a part of your community, Ron.
Thank you. So when you first started, what were you doing?
So I was a
What's your vocation?
landscaper, became a
Okay.
realtor. I'm in Northern California, so I do all over the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area. I also do Sacramento, a little bit of the Central Valley. But I was a landscaper. I turned realtor, and I was kind of dabbling with investments, but didn't have any clue what to do. And then, I came across you and, bought your programs and then jumped in and, just deep immersion, go to see you. I felt like there was probably 3 or 4 years. I felt like I was with you probably every other month.
I do remember seeing you a lot. In fact, it's coming back to me now. Same thing with Jeff. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what he looked like till I just now saw him, but now I've seen him. He looks awfully familiar. And you know what? You talk to anybody that's out there teaching today, and they'll tell you the same thing. They've been there multiple times. God, I know some people that aren't even teaching, been to the boot camp 5, 6, 7 times because we all need continuing education. But the reality is you can't get all this stuff in one sitting, can you? So what was your first deal like, Ty?
Real just simple, basic, subject to fix and flip, somebody in pre-foreclosure, gave them maybe a $25,000, spent $20,000 rehabbing it and made like, I don't know, $50,000 or $60,000. And my life was changed.
Yeah. So just a measly $50,000 or $60,000, huh, Ty?
Yeah, back in like 98, 99, that was, you could actually.
A lot of money. A lot of money then,
right?
It's a lot of money now. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you think it's an advantage or a disadvantage to live in a high price area like where you live in?
Well, I love the quote you said the other day when we did the Parade of Champions. The more dollars I waller in, the more are going to stick to you. So right. I think being in a higher expensive price market is better because there's more opportunity. There's more velocity of dollars.
Oh, I agree. You cannot help but make a lot more money on $1 million house than you will on a $200,000 house. It'd be difficult not to. Yeah. You don't have to do that many of them to make a lot of money. Plus, if you will hold on to these things and not flip everything you get your hands on, think of the massive growth in debt pay down, in equity, and in appreciation and in depreciation. Man, those size houses will depreciate you right out of paying taxes very quickly. So I'm with you, man. I'm thinking about moving to San Francisco.
I love it.
I thought about it. I'm not moving to San Francisco.
I'm thinking of moving to Florida, but I'll still do business virtually in California, but I'll be in Florida. So,
well, at least we got a Republican governor. So, come on down. Who may be running for president? Who knows? Okay. So what are you doing today, Ty? I mean, you've grown a lot since I first met you. In fact, hey, John, his big testimonial letter. No, it's not his. I think it's Hector's. It's one of them. Is it on the wall in there? Go get it. I want to put it in front of the camera. I want to show you what we did to it. Okay. I got one from you, though. I just can't remember where it's at, somewhere in this building. We got them posted everywhere. So
that was one of my favorite things was to send you copies of my checks. So every time I get a $50,000 and $80,000, $100,000 check, I would send it to you. And it was great because you even you published this book back in the early 2000s, and it was great to be a part of everything you're doing. So
took me a year and a half to write that book, Ty. Year and a half. God, it was painful. Okay. The next one I wrote in about 3 days. So there's a big difference.
I love it.
Anyway, is this Hector? Yeah, this is Hector. Okay. All right. So again, what's your business look like today?
So I have a real estate brokerage, and I'm not really super active in it, but I have a team that works in there that does some listings and sales. So if something doesn't fit our investment model, I basically push it over to the brokerage model.
Yeah.
Primarily what I do is I'm out marketing. I'm doing some wholesaling. I'm cherry picking what I believe to be the better rentals, better areas, the B and A neighborhoods. Also, too, something that you taught us a lot was the pretty house business. So buying pretty houses, taking them subject to, is something even today that we're still really active in. And then we will rehab and we'll flip a little bit, but it's a very small portion. It's mostly wholesale, a little bit of flip, but then also cherry picking the best rentals.
You're not getting your deals out of the MLS, are you?
Very rarely. Every now and then we'll pick one up out of there. Most of the stuff we do. So I've got a team of roughly about 8 people, and I've got 3 VAs in the Philippines that are doing some cold calling and warm calling off of our leads. We do some internet, some website leads as well. And then also we're real active with wholesalers, and, basically partnering with them or JVing with them. So they'll bring a deal and then we'll just, we'll do the disposition, we'll help them with the acquisition and then split the deal with them.
You should be partnering up with Jeff here and buying his deals. He's probably selling them too cheap anyway.
I would love to buy his California deals.
Well, there's nothing. No, well, his deals are all over, aren't they, Jeff?
They are.
What states are they in?
Right now, South Carolina, Alabama. We have an offer out on a fourplex in California. I'm surprised it's not accepted yet. We have Birmingham, Iowa.
There you go. You like Iowa?
Iowa's good.
Yeah.
It's like a fourplex kind of subject to deal.
Well, he probably wants something on his side of the country in case he actually had to do something and go visit it. That would be rare.
Yeah, but he might want to look at what the cap rates are in some of these other areas.
He don't care about cap rates. He's looking for stuff to rehab and retail. And hey, I'm not kidding. There's so many wholesalers out there today. Rehabbers just need to pair up with the wholesalers and probably get all the deals they want. And I'll tell you right now, all of you, if you're going to rehab a house today, and I don't know, whatever you think it's worth, let's say it's worth $300,000 when you get it done. I'm telling you, I'd put 3.25 on that thing in a heartbeat. I don't care if the highest comp is 300,000. I'm gonna raise the price on that house because this market is gonna suck it up fast, and you're just doing yourself a disservice if you give it away cheap. Besides, and the next time you go into that neighborhood, you're going to use your own house for a comp that you sold and raise the price above that. I remember Jay Connor telling me a story just recently. He had one the realtor told him to put out for $795. He put it out. He said, "Nope, put $895 on it." Realtor bitched and moaned and groaned, said, "You'll never get it." 2 days later, all cash, no financing needed, $895 offer for it. So that's a very good lesson. And I'm telling you, in this market, man, what a great time to sell, but raise that price. Now, do terms deals, there's no chance. I heard Lou Brown say a while ago, he puts 30% on his house master deals because he's selling them with owner financing. That's the price is not what these terms buyers care about, but even the cash buyers, especially in areas like yours, Ty. Frankly, Florida, and most other areas in the country with population, this is a great time to be selling them. It's also a great time to get out of personally guaranteed debt. In my opinion, we ought to try to sell everything we got with personally guaranteed debt on it and prepare for the turnaround, and then go out and get as much non-recourse debt as we possibly can so that we're in great shape when the market does turn, and we're recession proof because we're not obligated to banks. All right. I'm talking too much. I should be letting you guys talk. So you live in a higher end market. How many deals would you say you're doing in an average year now, Ty?
My production's down. Normally in the past, probably since I met you, I was doing 100, 120 deals a year. So let's call it 8 to 12 a month. Today, I'm a little leaner, better margin deals, fewer deals. I'll typically do 60 to 75 deals in an annual year.
Okay, but this is a combination of wholesale, some rehabs, and some terms deals.
Correct. Yep.
So you're a transaction engineer. Out
I
of
love it.
those,
And that was, you are
yeah,
the original. We talked about this the other day. You're the original on everything. The less I do, the more I make. The more dollars
yeah.
I wallow in, the more
Well,
they stick to you.
I did make that one up. That's copyrighted, by the way.
I
But
love it. And
pretty much everything
transaction
else,
engineer.
yeah. Well, pretty much everything else I've told you I stole from now dead people. So, I didn't admit
It
anything.
still belongs to you.
Transaction engineer, actually, I did not. I stole it from somebody else, but I borrowed it. It's called research. All right.
You're still known for it, though, Ron.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm the only one living. Um, now you got me off track. So, how many, let's say you did 70 deals a year, about how many of those would you hold on to and put tenant buyers in?
Um, 12 to 20, roughly 18,
Yeah.
15 in that range,
Yeah.
roughly.
Yeah. And so you got a decent portfolio of those kind of properties now that you just let the golden goose live on forever. Yeah.
That is correct.
So when you get ready to retire, which you frankly look like you pretty much are already, because when I ask you what you do, I know what the answer. It appears to me you don't do anything, which is okay. In fact, that is the goal, isn't it?
It is.
To not have to do anything. When you first started, how many hours would the week would you say you were putting into this business, not knowing very much about what you were doing? Of course, you didn't have the technology we have today either, did you?
Yeah.
Didn't have the tech. And then also too, I felt like back then I was probably working 5.5, 6 days a week. But then with you talking about the less I do, the more I make, I figured out, okay, just hire somebody to do project management, to deal with contractors, to deal with completions, to deal with tenants, hire a property manager, within my team that can deal with the tenants and the maintenance and all of that. So you are the original in teaching me that, to leverage or delegate by, getting other people involved in the business. So,
Yeah. So was that a problem for you as a man? Turn
maybe
loose
a
and let
little
other
bit.
people? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, I think for sure the rugged individualists think I can do it better or faster, which isn't true, but
Well,
there's
you
definitely some
can't
of
help it.
that. But
You were born with a testosterone. It's not your fault. And, and if it's already working perfectly, there's no way we're going to do it without fixing it, right, Ty?
that's right.
Okay. All right, Hector,
Yes,
wake it
sir.
up. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Is that big enough for you?
Well, that's
Huh?
not the one they sent, but that's a blow up version of
Do a close up on that, John. See if we can even let them read it. I'm not
it.
going to be able to read it.
On that
Never
one, I
mind.
was at let's see, where was I at? Right, there was about 70 million. I'm now at over 100 million in
Yeah.
closing positions from my
All right.
own.
I'm going to read this to them. Maybe.
Yeah.
Don't consume me here. Let's see how this is going to work. Says this letter is long, long overdue. I started taking your ugly houses boot camp in 2003, had great results, but wanted more Ron. So I joined your platinum commercial group and traveled with you in 2004 and 2005. That's right. We took airplane rides to go out and look at commercial properties, didn't we?
And helicopters. And
And
helicopters.
helicopters.
And helicopter.
People literally laughed in my face when I told them I paid $50,000 for 8 3-day mastermind sessions. You didn't pay $50,000.
It was 25. It was 25 per year. I did it.
Okay.
2
All right.
years.
All right.
Oh,
They
I
called
know.
me a fool.
Check.
Yeah. Okay. I ain't gonna argue with you. All right. They called me a fool. That's cool when they call you a fool. Don't that fire you up when people call you a fool? Yeah. Uh, let's fast forward to 2017. Here are my accomplishments by taking massive skilled action and implementing the strategies you taught me to invest in apartment buildings and commercial property. I purchased over $79 million in real estate. Now who's the fool? I drive my dream car, a white Ghost Rolls Royce, and my wife drives her dream car, a Range Rover. Hey, man, you got a nicer car than mine. What's the deal here? I don't have a Rolls Royce. I traveled the world in 2017. I took my family, grandma and grandpa, and house manager to Europe for 43 days. Man, I knew that was expensive. I purchased grandma and grandpa a brand new car. I bet that felt good.
Mhm.
I own and operate my own real estate acquisition and investment firm. We focus on deals $1 million to $25 million. Just a little jump of the old ugly house business. Smile. I have time freedom. I have financial freedom. I own several vacation homes, including a beachfront luxury condo in Cabo. I live in Brentwood, which is next door to Beverly Hills. Yes, I used seller financing to purchase this property for $44,100,000. It's now worth $6 million. Ron, you not only impacted my life, but the life of my wife, 3-year-old daughter, parents, family, and team. You said you would make me a millionaire. You were wrong. You helped me become a mega millionaire, and now I'm living the good life. And I like that letter so much. You can see what we did with it. Huh?
That's awesome.
All right. Okay. That's a heck of a jump, man. That's a
Yes,
heck
sir.
of a jump. That's 2003. Yeah. That's the same year that Wolves came in and several others that we've been hearing about here. But tell me, you said you now got over, did you say you've bought over $100 million worth of property?
Correct. I purchased over 100 million.
How much of that have you retained? How much of it do you still own today?
Quite a bit. I mean, I don't know exactly what the value is, but quite a bit. I became a self-made millionaire at 29, multimillionaire at 30. I was able to retire at 38. I'm now 46 and I'll give you an idea. I'm doing a refinance cash out right now. I'm going to get $1 million out of that one, tax-free on a refi cash out. So
What kind of property is that?
Say that again.
What kind of property is that?
That is a 19-unit apartment building. So I bought that 19-unit apartment building. I did what you taught me, which was a 1031 exchange. I bought some small properties like condos and single-family houses. I sold that. I had no money in those. Did a 1031 exchange into this property, and now doing a refinance cash out on that one. So I'm gonna refinance cash out $1 million by next week. That's a Freddie Mac loan. And I'm going to owe 2.4 on it, but it's worth about 4 million right now. So I'm still going to have about 1.5 million in equity, cash flow, plus $1 million cash out, tax free. And that's
need about one of those a month, don't you?
Yeah. Well, you know what I did different, Ron, is listening to you again. So what really caught my attention, you taught me in 2003 the fix and flip business, which I did very well in. But I always felt like I was chasing two rabbits. So always chasing the next deal, chasing the next deal, chasing the next deal. So then when you started teaching me commercial in 2004, 2005, 2006, I started to get into apartment buildings and doing larger deals. And then finally I realized that there was only two ways to increase my profits and give me more time freedom. So one was I had to do a lot more deals, or two, do less deals with bigger spreads. So now my goal is to make $1 million per deal. I don't always get it. I just sold a property in Brentwood next to Beverly Hills. I bought it for 4.1 million, but I did a 1031 exchange into it on a parking lot that I bought for $75,000 using none of my money. I brought in a private investor. I sold it in 13 months for $1,375,000. I took
Jesus.
I bought the building in Brentwood. I just sold the building in Brentwood, and I sold it for 5.8. So I bought it for 4.1. So I made about 1.7 million, right? Now I took that money, I rolled it back over into a 19 unit in Torrance. I just bought it for 3.7, but it's worth 4.7, and it doesn't need any rehab work. So I got $1 million in equity on that one. So I've just been using your system, which you taught me, but doing bigger spreads and less deals, which gives me all the time freedom I want, and it gives me financial freedom because I'm holding. I'm not flipping anymore.
You know what? I'm going to give you permission to go ahead and own that Rolls Royce. It sounds like you've earned it. And you're pissing off the other two guys here with all this big success, and they're wondering, well, maybe I should be doing it. Maybe I should be holding more of these bigger properties. So anyway, you really come a long ways, man. I mean,
Thank you so much for that. But I always said that one of the keys to success, one of the fifth keys. So I always say the keys to success are this, really quick. 5. Number 1, self-esteem. Number 2, self-confidence. Self-confidence in understanding the business, mastering the business. Number 3, your philosophy in business and life. Number 4 is taking massive skilled action with calibrated adjustments. And number 5 is having a vetted mentor like yourself and having what I call an A team. So I have a team of 6. I call it SEAL Team 6 because we're small, but we operate quickly. We get in, we close the deal, we get out, and we turn and burn. So just did everything that you taught me. I just did another deal in here in LA. I live in the Hollywood Hills. So one street behind me is Beverly Hills. The street right below me is Beverly Hills. The house in front of me, Ron, right now is going to go to market for $60 million. The house to my right is on the market for $58 million. The house behind me sold for $75 million. So I'm in a whole different circle. I call it proximity. Proximity is a huge thing. So I'm at a whole different level of influence. So again, going on another deal here in LA, I bought in a commercial office space. The same thing. I took the little houses that I had purchased, I sold them, did a 1031 exchange. I had no money in the little houses, did a 1031 exchange into a commercial office building. So I bought that. I bought it for 1.4. I'm just looking at my notes. I bought that for 1.4 million. I brought in a private investor, an individual, to give me a loan of 900,000. Then the other 600,000 was money. Actually, it was 500,000 was from the little condos that I sold. I refinanced that one once already, and I pulled out 1.8 million on a new loan. So I have no money in the deal. I'm now going to refinance it with the bank, and that property is now worth between 4.5 to 5 million. So I'm going to end up owing about $2 million to a bank, but I'm going to have 2.5 to 3 million equity plus cash flow. So you're right, all the tax advantages of holding. So now by holding, and I have a fully integrated business. So I have my own brokerage, but mostly just doing my own deals.
Yeah.
And I have my own in-house property management and my own in-house maintenance.
Yeah. So Jeff, after listening to him, are you sure you want to sell those commercial properties?
I think that it's so cool to hear all these stories because everyone finds what works best for them, and but we can absolutely learn from one another. And so for right now, I like my business model. I'm thrilled. Would I like some of Hector's equity and cash flow? Yeah, I would. But I'm pretty happy with the way my business is going right now.
If you're happy, I'm happy. I just want to pick on you a little bit because,
by all means,
frankly, he's an inspiration to anybody. I mean, you started with nothing, did you not, Hector?
I was a broke police officer.
Oh, you were a police officer too. I did not know that. Okay.
Yes,
how long were you a police officer?
Ron, my dream growing up, my uncle was my mentor, and he was my captain. My cousin was a sergeant. My other cousin was an investigator for the Santa Monica Police Department. The sheriff for LA right now, he was my drill instructor back in 1999. So long story short, my big dream before meeting Papa Ron was become a police officer. I was going to buy my little house in the front and have 3 units in the back that would pay for the house in the front. So I'd have no mortgage. I would buy a 4-plex, get married, have 2 kids, have 1 dog with my white picket fence, and live happily ever after. That was it. That was the dream. And then again, listen, for those of you listening out there, it's proximity. It's Ron, when I toured with you, I was still not wealthy. So when I toured with you and we were going on a private jet, we would land and we would go to one state and then we'd jump in a limo. Back then there was limousines. And then we'd go to another state and then we'd land, take a limo to a helicopter, take a helicopter and look at some real estate and then jump back on the jet and go. And then I go to your house and I wanted 1 to 2 dogs and you have horses. he has horses running around the house, and it was
Not
just
anymore.
it was just a whole different. It was a lot of inspiration, and the way you
Yeah.
taught it to me, I remember the little things. You said, Hector, buy it by the quart, sell it by the shot. The less I do, the more I make. You can't make chicken
Yeah.
salad out of chicken shit. So when you taught me all that, that really inspired me. I'll tell you right now, Ron, my office suites, I turned that building into like a WeWork spot. And I did what you said, buy it by the quart, sell it by the shot. So I took 8,600 square feet. That's almost impossible to rent, especially with today's market. And
Yeah.
I made small little suites under 300 square feet. In that market right now, 8,600 square foot building is going to rent for $1.40. Okay. I'm getting over $3 a foot because they're micro suites, right?
Yeah.
Plus cams.
Yeah.
Go buy it by the quart, sell it by the shot.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, Hector, way back. And you had the same thoughts as everybody else coming into this business. Where am I going to get the money? So where did you get the money? Where you needed money. You bought a lot of properties where you use private lenders. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But on these commercial properties, I know when you're buying them, you're going to have to raise capital from somewhere. So are you taking in partners? Are you private lender basically is kind of a partner, but there's a difference between an equity partner and a private lender.
Correct.
So how are you covering the top end of these commercial properties when you buy them?
Excellent question. So a couple of ways. Number one is I'm trying to not have any more what I call a funding partner, right?
Yeah.
So I'm using my own money now, but again, I'm 21 years into this. Guys, this is not an overnight success. This is 21 years in the making. When people talked about investing in mentors, I think Jeff said that he's invested over 500,000. I stopped counting at 350,000. So, and I took all the LeGrand's courses. I just saw Bob. I haven't seen Bob in years. I took his course, and we were just talking about the calculator.
Yeah.
But here's how I'm doing it. So now I'm using my 1031 money. Okay, so I'm using I find the asset, I sell a smaller asset, and then I just level up, and I don't have any partners on that. Sometimes you start getting, liquidity starts getting kind of tight because you're putting money out on large rehabs. So when that happens, I'm either doing, again, what I'm doing, I'm just structuring the deal. So one time, what I'll do on some occasions is I'll do a wraparound mortgage. In California, we call it an AITD. I put a little bit of money down or no money down, and then I have the seller carry a second. And I just let them know, listen, I'm going to get in here. I'm going to rehab these units. I'm going to increase the NOI. And then I'm going to refinance cash out with the bank, and you're out of the deal. Or I'll do an AITD. I bring in a private investor to lend me money on a second position, and then I get in with no money, or I get in with very little money. So it's just deal structuring. That's what it is.
Well, we need to make the point here for those listening, Hector, because some people are under the impression that a private lender is going to come in and loan me 100% loan to value on a second mortgage.
No,
that's not a private lender. That's an equity investor. Private lenders aren't going to go 100% loan to value ratio. So distinguishing the difference, an equity investor is investing money in the project. Private lenders investing money to get a rate of return, but they're not going to go that 100% risk. And I'm not saying there aren't those that might, but there are more friends and relatives and trusted associates than they are. And frankly, they're more investors than they are private lenders. Anyway, we'll teach all that in the commercial boot camp. I'm doing it live. I'm still doing them, guys. When you guys came to my first one, it cost $6,000, didn't it?
Yeah.
6,000.
Yeah. I want everybody to know that. So tell me, was that a good investment?
It was
awesome.
Or do you want a refund? Huh? Out of here. All right. Listen, guys, I could talk to you all day long. You are just such a pleasure to talk to. And it really is good to know that I had some part to play in your success and where you are today. You're an inspiration to a lot of folks. So thank you for taking part in this. I know you got nothing out of it.
It's been a huge pleasure for me. Thank you, Ron.
My pleasure.
And guys, the same thing, man. When I used to sit down there and I would see Ron on stage and I would see some of his testimonials, and I'm like, man, can I ever get there? And I wrote down a quick note for those of you guys that want to kind of level up. Is what I wrote down is when you're looking at your business, is the problem that you're having, is it a strategy? Is it part of the system and the process? Or is it a psychological challenge? So for me, Ron taught me, the systems, but it was psychological of, can I actually become a millionaire? I mean, here I was as a, former police officer, that it just didn't seem like reality. But once I started meeting his students and saying, like, this person's a millionaire, this one's a mega millionaire, I was like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And next thing you know, follow the system, follow the process, follow the strategy, get over the psychological
One day at a time.
challenge, and you're
One
there.
day at a time. We ain't
That's
going
it.
from the curb to the penthouse in 1 week, are we?
Nope.
I got a suggestion for you two guys. I mean, it is just a suggestion. You both live in California. You got the same mindset. You got the same personality. You're both movers and shakers. You might want to plan a get together with your families and just spend some time going chatting and exchanging ideas and so forth. And of course, do the same by phone thereafter. Start your own mastermind group of folks just like you, because I know you know others. You get so much benefit out of that. And you're just perfect candidates for it. And anyway, I appreciate you taking the time again, guys. Really fun talking to you.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
Go kick some butt.